Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is June 4th, and right now we are looking at the infrared / visible satellite imagery. You can still see we have a lot of activity out here across the Pacific Ocean yet to come our way. We're going to continue to bring some rainfall. We got some gusty winds ongoing as we speak. Up to over 85,000 people were without power in the windstorm we'd been talking about for a few days. Rolled through here yesterday, and you can still see we've got a deep low across the Gulf of Alaska continuing to bring those blustery conditions, and that's going to continue for eastern Washington as well, and places east of the Cascades and Oregon also here. So we're going to dive into those details here as we go through the video this morning. You can see that we were at 59 degrees on the second there, and we did hit 65 hundredths of an inch of rain. That was the all-time daily record high for June 2nd. Yesterday's totals have not come in just yet here, but we're in for another fairly rainy day again here today for the Seattle metro area, at least kind of a hit and miss nature, a little bit more than what we dealt with here back a couple of days ago on June 2nd. If we take a look here now at Hoquiam, we're at 57 degrees on the second, also 1.87 inches of rain. That is a daily all-time record high there, and of course set this year. And yeah, interesting stuff here. Pretty unusual to get those kind of precipitation totals. In fact, that might be the all-time daily June record, and I believe that it is. You can see 1.77 here on the 8th, but that is the rainiest June day ever recorded at Hoquiam. It's really the time of year where we start dragging those precipitation totals down quite dramatically. You can see we average about 2 inches a year during June, so that almost reached the month average total of precipitation in one day. Now, we still have a wind advisory ongoing through 11 a.m. this morning. Again, the gusty winds are continuing. You can see the advisory continues, and we still got flood watches out there across the region. Now, if we take a look here, be prepared for those power outages. I know we just went through this here, but it could still kind of be a continuation of that as we go through the morning hours here. And pretty interesting stuff here. When we get these late season or late spring and early summer windstorms, you can really do some damage because the trees grow new leaves, and those act as a sail on the tree, and of course drag down some of those branches, and it can knock down branches in or trees into power poles, and that can really cause some fairly widespread power outages here. Again, 85,000 plus without power. Taking a look here at this weather station, if you want to measure these wind speeds and these temperatures and barometric pressure, and this builds a forecast for you at your house, it tells you when it starts raining. Go ahead and click on that link down below to save 10% off. Highly recommend this weather station. For the price, you cannot beat it. It is awesome, and it lines up with your smartphone really well. Very fun stuff. Now, taking a look at what we've been dealing with here. So we're going to let this upload, and this is since midnight tonight. You can see Bellingham 40, Whidbey Island 49. Look at Hoquiam 56. That is a big time wind gust out there. Some of southwest Washington. You can see portions of Oregon gusting up over 40 miles an hour as well. Some of the higher terrain also had some pretty impressive gusts there. And this is for June 2nd here, if we're going to let this upload. And you can see, again, some impressive gusts around the Puget Sound there causing those power outages. Hoquiam 53, you can see up by Mount Rainier, 61 miles per hour. And yeah, interesting stuff here with these systems. And we're going to take a look at these in some detail now. You can see the European with this system that moved through as we went through the day Sunday into Sunday night and on into Monday morning. This is the system right here, and you can see pretty strong pressure gradient to the south side of that. And that's why we got those windy conditions. And you can also see the storm impacting us now that was out over the Pacific Ocean. Put that into motion, and you can see that moving through. Now we're going on into Tuesday morning, and this is the one out over the Gulf of Alaska as we speak, continuing those blustery and windy conditions across the region. Take a look at Pendleton, Oregon. You can see still some gusty winds going on as we go through the day today. This was issued this morning by the Pendleton National Weather Service here. And you can see it's a pretty gusty wind out there. Look at Heppner 41 potentially as well. And you can see eastern Washington. Look at Ritzville, maybe gusting 50 miles per hour as we go through the afternoon. Wilbur 50, Spokane 45, Tri-Cities 45, Yakima 40, Ellensburg 50, straight out of the west there, then turning southwest as you move a bit further east across the eastern Washington area. And of course, across the higher terrain, this is not going to accurately represent. There's going to be some pretty strong winds across some of the ridge tops and some of the Rocky Mountains here, some of the Bitterroots in western Montana also, and not quite as strong as what we saw on Tuesday, but this was issued this morning. So also want to mention the wave activity here. There is some beach hazard statements in effect here. Got some big wave action coming in. Of course, got the strong storms out over the Pacific Ocean. So yeah, those are going to bring some big waves with them. Kind of unusual for this time of the year here. And you can get some people that are vacationing that are not quite familiar with just how dangerous the coast can be at this time of year. And you get swept away if you are not on top of your game out there. Taking a look at that wave action. Here we go through today. You can see that big swell out there. It's going to be punishing into the Pacific Northwest as we go on into tomorrow. Some elevated wave activity up and down the coastline all the way probably through Thursday night. We start to get a break here as we go through Friday, and then there's going to be another strong storm that's going to help bring actually some warmer weather here and some ridging, but that's also going to shed some wave action towards the Pacific Northwest as well as we go through later portions of the weekend. Now, taking a look at what's coming here, you can see Washington, there's Hawaii, there's California here, the Pacific Ocean, and here's a storm system we are dealing with now. Again, it's going to continue to bring rainfall today for some of the region, and then you see the ridge start to build in here as we go through the day Wednesday and on into Thursday. It is probably going to let us warm up here along the West Coast. We're going to be dealing with this transition from some very stormy weather to some nicer, warmer weather here. It doesn't look like it's going to be as hot as previous days had suggested here, but you're definitely going to notice the warm up for sure. And as we scroll off into the extended forecast a bit more, you can kind of see some ridging hanging out, maybe giving us an extended period or at least somewhat of a break from this wintry weather. If we look at the GFS, something similar here as well. There's our initial storm. Ridge builds deep low out over the Gulf of Alaska and Pacific Ocean, and you can see that move into the Gulf of Alaska here with the ridging, and the ridge axis is right here. So where this sets up, if this is a little bit further west, we warm up a little bit more. A little bit further east here, of course, we're going to be dealing with more clouds and cooler conditions. So we'll be watching that over the next few days to see just how much we're going to warm up. And then the extended forecast, something interesting occurs here as well. As we start to go through the mid-June time period, we have additional systems. I'm scrolling back here between the 11th and the 12th, and you can see another system there moving through about the 13th and the 14th time frame here as well, as another trough drops down across the West Coast. Fantasy land at this point, but kind of an interesting signal there, no doubt. Taking a look at the European model here, this is a precipitation 6 hour, and I want to kind of show you the precipitation is going to be going on today. Lesser amounts across the Willamette Valley. You can see not much scheduled for areas south of Portland here, but Washington and British Columbia definitely getting the lion's share here of the precipitation as we go through tonight. You can see that starting to wrap up here as we go through the day Wednesday, and we might end up getting a decent day out of it as we go on in through the end of Wednesday. And then you see we've got some dry weather coming our way. Now we're on in through Thursday night. We keep scrolling ahead here. We're now on into Friday afternoon. You can see the system out over the Pacific Ocean, but no precipitation in the meantime for much of the Pacific Northwest. Now let's take a look here at the North American model. Let's try to pinpoint some of these totals today. The North American model showing up over 0.4 of an inch for Seattle, but you can kind of see the hit and miss nature here as we go. And there's not much showing up for the San Juans here, but again, kind of that hit and miss nature. Better amounts across the higher terrain, no doubt. You can see we've got the Oregon coastal range and some of the Cascades of Oregon still picking up some decent amounts as we go through the day today. And some local areas getting, up over 1.5 inches here across some of the Washington, British Columbia Cascades. Not much scheduled here, but definitely breezy conditions as we go through the day today for eastern Washington and eastern Oregon. Now, if we take a look at what's been going on since about 5 o'clock this morning, and you can see we've had some pretty blustery conditions out there as well. Excuse me. Now, taking a look at Seattle, it's been still blustery out there, but the good news is that after about 11 a.m., the winds start to die down west of the Cascades. However, as you go through this afternoon, it's still going to be breezy as you still see some of these 40-plus mile-per-hour gusts for eastern Washington and portions of eastern Oregon, and we'll scroll all the way out here towards about tomorrow late morning here. But the wind should be dying down as we go through the day today across the region, except for eastern Washington, and then after that, we're going to start to relax things as we go on in through the day Wednesday. Now, looking at temperature here for today, this is Tuesday today, and you can see Seattle 63, some 70s down here across southwest Oregon, even some 80s actually, and pretty warm eastern Washington showing up, relatively speaking here. And then we start to warm up as we get through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Look at that, 76 for Seattle, some upper 80s for the Willamette Valley. Talking about some 90s east of the mountains here for eastern Washington and Oregon. There's Saturday, 78 for Seattle, some 80s still for the Willamette Valley. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So we do have the potential to really get back towards some above average conditions here as we go through the next 10 days or so. You can see Seattle-Tacoma here. This is today and the gradual warm-up as we go through the weekend. So we might get a nice glorious weekend here coming up, depending on, of course, what comes. But we'll be watching that day by day and trying to break things down. And then you can see the dip back down here as we go towards the mid-portion of June with the potential for a couple more systems rolling through. Again, fantasy land right now. Take that with a grain of salt. Here's Bend Municipal Airport also, and you can kind of see the warm-up and then maybe the drop back down here as we go through the mid-portion of June. We'll see how that works out. Here's Seattle. You can see maybe 3/10 of an inch or so, between 2 and 4/10 of an inch with the precipitation today. Then we get that break, and then the ensembles start picking up on that precipitation as we go back towards the mid-portion of June. And in turn, here is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This goes through June 13th. Above average signal is there right now for the West Coast. We'll see how that updates over the next few days. Below average signal as well. But anyway, yeah, I had a few fun days out there storm chasing. Pretty long trip. I was out there for 10 days. It is good to be home. I caught a nasty head cold while I was out there. My voice is doing much better than it was, but I'm still pretty congested right now. And yeah, hopefully I'll be getting better over the next few days. But anyway, hope that wind didn't affect you too bad out there. Hopefully you were prepared for it watching the channel. And again, if you want that weather station, click on that link down below to save 10% off. And one more thing, if you're still watching the video here, go ahead and click like and subscribe. About 40 to 50% of people who watch these videos are members or subscribers of the page. So if I could get, another 20% of the people who watch the page to subscribe, we could really be doing well and get the channel more traction here across Pacific Northwest. The channel's doing really good, better than my wildest expectations here. But just kind of giving you a heads up, if you do want to help, go ahead and click that subscribe button if you would. But anyway, yeah, so we will do this, break it all again down tomorrow, and we'll check to see what's coming up here. And I hope you guys are having a good day otherwise, and I will talk to you guys then.